I've been lean year round for the past few years, but the thing is, it wasn't always this way. There were days where all I could think about was that packet of Doritos in my kitchen pantry. I would be sitting at my desk watching YouTube videos, not even being able to focus on what I was watching, because all I could think about in the back of my mind was chips. And so eventually I would just reach that breaking point. And the next thing I knew, I was in my kitchen pantry and I was halfway through that packet of Doritos. I've been there. And it's those exact eating behaviors that kept me skinny fat. So instead of me coming on here and telling you, you need to stop eating junk food, you need to start eating clean, we need to address the root cause of those eating behaviors. And that's what's actually going to get you lean. The first thing is that you aren't eating properly. So yes, you need to be eating clean, but there's a difference, I think, between eating clean and eating properly to get lean. The difference is that eating clean is, yes, you're eating natural, unprocessed foods, but eating properly is having an actual, substantial meal that will keep you satiated for a set amount of time. Because sure, you can have one strawberry. Yes, you're eating clean, but that is not going to keep you full. And you will still have those thoughts of chips and other junk food in the back of your head because you are not satiated. This is what I used to do. My lunches would be toasted cheese sandwiches. So it was 2 pieces of white bread with butter and cheese. That would be my lunch. And that is simply not enough food to actually keep you full, let alone it being even clean either. And so it was no wonder that I would get to mid-afternoon, I'd be around 3, 4 p.m., I'd be at my desk, and I would get these cravings for junk food. You stop getting these cravings once you actually implement clean, proper meals into your diet. So for lunch every day, you need to have a proper meal. And what I define as a proper meal is a protein source plus a carb source. And the protein you need to be having is minimum 50 grams of protein. So that's probably about 300 grams of chicken thigh. And that's what I do. My lunches are always chicken thigh and potatoes. And I'm roughly eating 300 grams of chicken thigh with about 200 grams of potatoes. And that's around 50 to 60 grams of protein. When you eat this way, especially having high protein meals, it means that you're satiated for longer. Protein is the most filling macronutrient. And sure, you might be overdoing your protein goals. You might only have to eat 150, 160 grams of protein per day to build muscle. But the thing is, when you consume more protein, you also keep yourself fuller for longer. And that is going to allow you to beat any cravings you have for junk food. That will pay off in the long run for getting lean. And the reason I didn't do this back in the day when I would have those cravings for Doritos and chips was because I simply wasn't willing to cook. I had no idea how to get into the kitchen and cook chicken or cook beef mince or cook anything. And it was because in my mind, it was just too difficult. It wasn't something I could actually do. But the reality is, if you can cook for yourself and just bite the bullet of going through a bit of discomfort in learning how to cook, it pays off so much because what it means is you'll now be eating proper meals. And because you're eating proper meals, you have beaten these cravings. And because of that, you will get lean. And in hindsight now, cooking does not have to be difficult whatsoever. I am the laziest, most untalented cook in the kitchen. My meals are extremely simple, to the point where I honestly reckon a 5-year-old could cook them. So I think you just need to bite the bullet because otherwise you're fighting an uphill battle against getting lean. You make your life so much simpler when you cook for yourself, and those meals that you're having for lunch and for breakfast are actual, proper, substantial meals because you will eliminate any more cravings that you have for the rest of the day. And if you are looking for step-by-step guidance as to how I cook these simple meals as an untalented cook, you can check out my program. There's the link in the description below. The second reason is that you are not busy enough. I want you to be busy to the point where you don't even have time or mental bandwidth to think about food. If you ever think about those times that you're at work or that you're at school, studying, or doing something with friends, you're not actually having conscious thoughts of cravings. You only get those cravings and thoughts of wanting to eat junk food or eat chips or Doritos when you're by yourself, idle. and not actually doing anything. For me, it was when I was literally doing nothing, just sitting in my bedroom watching YouTube, that I would get these cravings for food. And on some level, you're actually just bored and unstimulated to the point where your brain actually just wants stimulation rather than actually being hungry for food and for energy. So, as I said, when I was just in my bedroom watching YouTube, not actually doing anything with my life, not working towards something, that is when I would have the cravings. So, you need to keep yourself busy with something like work, with a job, with a hobby, or a goal that you're just constantly thinking about instead of thinking about food. And I'll give you an example in my own life of how this played out. So back when I was at school, when I was skinny fat and I wanted to lose fat, the times that I would go and relapse and eat the Doritos would be when I was on school holidays and when I would have absolutely zero things to do with my life because there was no school on. So I would stay up late because I didn't have to wake up early the next morning. And it was always late at night when I had nothing to do, when I was watching YouTube, when I was watching Netflix, when I was watching 1, 2, 3 movies, that I would go down to the kitchen pantry and start eating food. It was always late at night. And part of it was boredom, but part of it was also just habit. And because I was up that late, because I had no reason to wake up early the next morning, that is when I relapsed. So if you're in a similar position to where I was, where you always have the cravings late at night, and that's when you're having the Doritos, then if you had some purpose, some goal to work towards, to be up early the next morning for, and therefore to go to sleep earlier the night before for, then you're going to eliminate you being in these situations where you're eating junk food late at night. And so you can contrast that to when I was actually in school and when I was studying in my final year of school, where I was taking it very seriously because I wanted to reach the score that I wanted. I would go to bed way earlier because I would have to wake up for school early the next day. And looking back, when I was studying, busy at school, and had a goal to work towards, I wasn't binge eating junk food late at night because I was asleep at that time. So if you have something that you're working towards, that you're staying busy because of, then that can help immensely from beating any of these scenarios you get yourself into where you start to binge eat and eat unhealthily. The third cause is that it is way too frictionless. When I say eating junk food is way too frictionless for you, what I mean is that it is way too easily accessible. And because it is so easily accessible to you, that is why you do it. So to give you an example, I have this water bottle on my table, on my desk, to remind me to drink water all the time. And because it's on my desk and so easily accessible to me all the time, I drink like over 4 liters of water per day because I've made it so easy for myself, because I've made it so frictionless. And when it comes to junk food, you want to increase the friction between you and eating junk food. So a lot of the time you start eating Doritos and eating chips is because it's just so frictionless for you, because it's so easy, because it's in your kitchen pantry and you know it's in there. So instead, if you can increase the friction between you and consuming whatever junk food it is that is the problem for you, then you're going to make it way more unlikely that you consume that junk food. And the easiest way you can do this is just by getting it out of your house. That means not buying it from the supermarket. Because when you buy it from the supermarket and it goes into your pantry and it's 10 p.m. at night and you get those cravings, then it's so easy for you to get up, go to your kitchen that's 10 seconds away, and you're starting eating that packet of chips. Whereas if it's not in your house and you have those same cravings at the same time, then what you have to do to actually satisfy those cravings is get dressed, get in your car, drive to the supermarket, buy the chips, come home, then eat the chips. And you've just added like 5 more steps into the process of relapsing, which makes it all the more unlikely that you're going to actually have junk food. So to actually try and increase friction between you and consuming junk food, I think something that helped a lot for me is having this kind of spite towards junk food and knowing that whenever it's in your vicinity, it's going to make you worse. And so because I adopted that mindset, I just kind of started hating junk food. I'm like, why is it here? I don't want to have cake. I don't want to have Doritos. get it out of my presence, because the mindset I had was that it would start to annoy me if it was there. And I implore you to adopt a similar kind of mindset. If you have junk food in your house, have no hesitation in throwing it in the bin with absolutely zero remorse. While it might seem like it's a waste, realistically, you are going to get more utility out of getting lean because you threw the junk food out, as opposed to you keeping the junk food. Sure, your $3 that you spent on the packet of chips might be going to waste when you throw it out, but how much is getting lean worth to you? I'm sure it's worth over $3. So those are the 3 root causes that actually cause me to binge eat junk food. And if you can address those root causes, then that's when you actually can get lean. So if you wanted further in-depth guidance as to strategies to eating clean, you can check out my program. There's the link in the description below. So if you learned anything from this video, please consider subscribing. We're getting to 20K subs soon, and I will see you in the next one.